My family tried to turn my bedroom into a nursery and put a $34,000 bill in my name. Reddit stories. What started as family support turned into forged contracts and public manipulation. One exhausted paramedic realized too late that boundaries only matter once lawyers get involved. Hi, I'm Evan, 28, and 3 weeks ago my family tried to turn my childhood bedroom into my sister's nursery while I was still living in it. Not metaphorically. Literally. As in, I came home from a 14-hour shift to find my sister standing in my doorway holding color swatches like I was a guest star on a home makeover show I hadn't agreed to appear on. Some people get family drama. I get surprise renovations. For context, I'm a paramedic. Meaning, weird hours, not enough sleep, and a constant mixture of caffeine and adrenaline holding my body together. I moved back home last year because my parents said, "Why pay for rent? Save money and live here until you buy a house." And because I was an exhausted idiot who believed them, I agreed. 2 months later they started charging me $2,400 a month. Market rate. My dad had said, conveniently ignoring that his mortgage was from 1999 and his payment was roughly equivalent to the price of a mid-range toaster. But I didn't complain. They were my parents, I worked a ton, I wasn't home much anyway. And for a while that worked. Then my sister, Claire, got pregnant. Claire is confident. By which I mean she approaches life like everything is already hers and everyone else is just waiting to hand it to her. She walked into my room that day without knocking, wearing yoga pants, a messy bun, and the look of someone who's already decided the outcome of the conversation. "Good news," she announced, waving a bundle of pastel paint samples like she'd just been nominated for Best Supporting Sister in a family drama. "We're converting your room into the nursery." I stared at her. My socks weren't even off yet. "My what into your what?" She gestured broadly around my room. "This space has the best natural light. Babies need natural light. And you're barely here. It just makes sense." I blinked at her. Blinked at the wall. Blinked at the ceiling, as if heaven might lower an instruction manual titled What to Do When Your Family Loses Their Damn Minds. Finally I said, "Claire, where exactly do you think I'm going to sleep?" She shrugged. "I don't know. The couch? Your truck? You guys are used to improvising in emergency services. Think of it like training." She actually smiled like she'd said something supportive. I looked down the hall where my parents stood. Mom wringing her hands like she hated conflict. Dad drinking coffee like this was a TED Talk on boundaries and how to ignore them. "Dad?" I said. He took a slow sip, the kind designed to irritate the person waiting for a response. "Family grows," he finally said. "Everyone sacrifices." "Oh," I said. "So I sacrifice my room that I pay rent for?" No one answered. And I felt something shift. A quiet, internal click, like the moment before a seatbelt locks in a crash. "Okay," I said too calmly. "Sure." I tossed my work shirt into my duffel, put on my shoes, grabbed my keys, and walked out. While Claire happily taped a sample called "Gentle Morning Cloud" to the wall above my pillow. I didn't even slam the door. I just left. That night I slept on my coworker Jonah's futon, listening to him snore like a man fighting invisible demons, and thinking that I must have imagined the whole thing. I had not imagined the whole thing. Because the next morning, at 8:13 a.m., I got a phone call from an unfamiliar number. "Hi," a cheerful voice said. "This is Glenn from Sunrise Home Renovations. I'm here with my crew and materials. We're ready to start demo on the nursery. But before we begin, who's paying the $34,200 invoice?" I sat straight up. "The what?" "The invoice," Glenn repeated. "It's in your name." My name. On a $34,000 renovation I'd never heard of. And that was the moment I realized. My family hadn't just taken my room. They had taken my identity and my wallet with it. I got to my parents' house in 12 minutes. I definitely didn't speed, because that would be illegal, But I will say the laws of physics seemed unusually cooperative that morning. Glenn the contractor was standing in the driveway next to a white van plastered with pictures of smiling families and suspiciously clean tool belts. Behind him, two guys were unloading lumber like they were preparing to build the world's most judgmental crib. He glanced at me as I got out of my truck. "You the homeowner?" he asked. "No," I said. "You the tenant?" "Also no." He checked the clipboard. "You're Evan Carter?" "Unfortunately, yes." He squinted at the paperwork. "Then you're the one on the contract. You signed for a full nursery conversion. Walls, electrical, soundproofing, nice package. Though the signature's a little enthusiastic?" He tilted the page so I could see. I swear, my stomach dropped through the earth's crust. The signature said, "Evan C." Except it wasn't my handwriting. It wasn't even close. It looked like someone had tried to forge my name using a crayon during a mild earthquake. The email listed? Mine. The phone number? Mine. The billing address? Also mine, because I lived here. Until yesterday. My face must have done something dramatic because Glenn took one step back. "Is there a problem?" he asked carefully. I didn't answer. Because at that exact moment, the front door opened and my father stepped out like he was emerging from a commercial break. He saw the crew. He saw me. And instead of looking apologetic or ashamed or even remotely surprised, he sighed. Of course he sighed. "Evan," he said, like my presence was the inconvenience here. "We talked about this." "No," I said. "You talked." I left. My mom rushed out behind him. "Sweetheart, you didn't let us explain." "Yes, I did," I said. "And the explanation was, figure it out, family expands. Remember?" Her smile stretched thin, like dough before it tears. "That was taken out of context." "Really?" I said. "Because the context seems to be that you tried to steal $34,000 from me this morning." Her eyes widened in genuine offense. "Steal? Evan! We would have paid you back." "When?" I asked. "Before or after the baby went to college?" My dad crossed his arms like he was preparing for a committee hearing. "You're being dramatic again." "Dramatic?" I repeated. "Dad, you put my name on a construction contract." "We didn't put your name," he said. "Your sister handled the paperwork." Ah. There it was. Right on cue. And like a summoned demon, Claire appeared in the doorway holding an iced coffee the size of a toddler. She waved at Glenn like she was greeting the staff at her favorite boutique hotel. "Oh, good! You're here. We need the cloud wallpaper installed before the crib comes." Then she saw me. Her expression didn't even change. "Why are you here?" she asked. I stared at her. "Because you forged my name on a $34,000 invoice." She rolled her eyes in the slow, exaggerated way of someone who thinks blinking is beneath them. "Oh my God! Evan! We didn't forge anything. We just wrote your name because you're paying." Time froze. Even the bird stopped. "I'm not paying," I said. "Well, you were supposed to," she said, shrugging so hard she sloshed her coffee. "Dad said it was fine." "Dad also said to figure it out," I shot back. My father nodded proudly, like he'd won an argument I wasn't aware we were having. "It's called being supportive," he said. "You're a paramedic. You make good money. Claire's having a baby. You should help." I looked at him. At all of them. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilt or obligation or that familiar tightness in my chest when I disappointed them. I felt clarity. "Glenn," I said, turning to the contractor, "I did not authorize any of this. Do not start. Do not charge me. Do not even breathe too hard near this house in case they try to bill me for the air." Glenn looked relieved. Contractors hate drama more than mold. "No problem," he said. "We'll pack it up." My dad's voice snapped like a mousetrap. "Evan! Get back here! We're not done." "Oh," I said. We are so unbelievably done. I started walking toward my truck. My mom called after me, voice quivering like she was auditioning for a sympathy award. What are we supposed to do now? I paused at the driver's side door. I don't know, I said. Figure it out. My dad actually flinched. I got into my truck and closed the door. For a moment I just sat there, breathing slowly, letting the adrenaline fade. Then my phone buzzed. It was a text from Claire. You are dead to me. I stared at the message for a second. Then typed, add it to the invoice, and drove away. I barely made it 2 blocks from my parents' house before Jonah, my coworker, part-time philosopher, full-time chaos enthusiast, called me. He didn't even say hello. Dude, he said. Are you coming back to get the rest of your stuff? Because your sister is currently live streaming from your doorway. I pulled over so hard a trash bin trembled. She's what? Jonah snorted. Instagram live. She's crying. And ranting. And holding up a paint sample like it's Exhibit A in a case against humanity. Of course she was. Send me the link. I muttered. He did. I tapped it. And there she was, Claire, in front of my now half-stripped bedroom wall, eyes red but definitely not from real crying, more like the kind you do when you think your mascara will smudge nicely. Behind her, my dad stomped around in the hallway pretending not to be on camera. My mom hovered with a tissue, performing concerned parent for the internet audience. Claire sniffled dramatically. So basically, she told her 143 viewers, my brother, who is a grown man with a stable career, just abandoned us. He left us in crisis. We literally have no nursery, no plan, and no support. Someone commented, why is he so selfish? She sniffled again. Exactly. Thank you. He just doesn't understand what it means to be family. Another comment, why didn't he pay for the renovation? He lives there. She brightened immediately. Thank you. Yes. He should. He's been living rent-free. I nearly threw my phone. Jonah yelled through the speaker. I'm turning it off, dude, your blood pressure is going to explode. No, I said. Let it play. Because I suddenly understood something very, very important. This wasn't the midpoint disaster. This was the midpoint reveal. See, I'd always known my family had a flexible relationship with reality. But this? Claire weaponizing social media, rewriting history while standing inside my room like an invading army? No. Absolutely not. This was a declaration of war. I took a slow breath. Okay, I said. Fine. Fine what? Jonah asked. They want to play games, I said. I play better. He exhaled hard. Evan. Buddy. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the fact that the contract has my email, my phone number, my name, and a forged signature. Jonah went quiet. Oh no, he whispered. You're going full legal. I'm going nuclear legal. Dude. He sounded almost reverent. Finally. Because here's the thing about paramedics. We don't panic. We assess. We triage. We act. And suddenly the whole situation looked different. My parents hadn't just crossed a line, they'd paved a whole new highway over it. They forged my signature. They attempted to charge my account. They used my identity on a binding contract. That's not family stress. That is literally a crime. And not a cute one. The kind with paperwork. I'm calling a lawyer, I said. Jonah whistled. Do you have a lawyer? No, I said. But Claire just told her entire social media that I live rent-free while simultaneously stealing $34,000 from me. So, a lawyer will want the case? Oh, I said. A lawyer will love the case. I wasn't exaggerating. I called one. Explained everything. Sent screenshots. Forwarded the forged contract. Showed the declined $34,200 charge attempt. My lawyer, his name was Marcus and his voice could peel bark off a tree, went silent for a long moment. Then he said, "Evan, your family didn't commit one crime. They committed several. And because they used your identity across state-linked financial systems, this isn't just civil. It's potentially federal." My pulse thudded. "Federal?" I repeated. "Yes," he said. "And if they continue pretending you authorized it, especially publicly, that adds defamation, financial coercion, and misuse of private identifying information." I stared out the windshield, stunned. I had come home to pastel paint samples. And instead I'd stepped into a felony. Marcus continued, voice razor sharp. "Tell me one thing, did you respond to their live stream claims?" "No." "Good," he said. "Because we're going to use it." "We are?" "Oh yes," Marcus said. "And we'll start by sending a cease and desist that will make your sister's ring light explode." I blinked. "Marcus? Yes? Is this normal?" He let out a short laugh. "In my line of work? More normal than you'd think. Families don't steal small. They go big." I leaned back in my seat. Exhaled. Felt the shift again. This was no longer about a nursery. This was about reclaiming a life I hadn't realized wasn't mine anymore. "Marcus," I said, voice steady, "what happens next?" "What happens next," he said, "is that we give your parents and your sister the worst surprise of their lives." And then he added, "Meet me at my office in 1 hour. Bring everything." Everything. Oh, I'd bring everything. The truth. The receipts. And the version of me that stopped apologizing. Because for 28 years, I'd been the quiet kid. The helpful one. The good son. The easy brother. That version of me ended the day they signed my name for me. The war had officially begun. Marcus's office was one of those places that made you sit up straighter even before you stepped inside. Glass walls, dark wood desk, the kind of lighting that makes you wonder if it's possible to get interrogated and complimented at the same time. He shook my hand once, firm, focused, and then got right to business. "Sit. Let's sort the chain of events." I handed him everything. Screenshots. The contract. The forged signature. The declined $34,000 charge. Claire's live stream. Text messages from my parents. Marcus reviewed all of it with the calm intensity of someone building a legal guillotine. When he finished, he tapped the contract with one finger. "This is the biggest problem for them." "What do you mean?" He rotated the document toward me. "Your sister didn't just forge your name. She entered a legally binding contract using your identity, contact information, and financial details. That is identity misuse, attempted financial fraud, and because the value exceeds $30,000. He paused for emphasis. "It qualifies as a felony in this state." My stomach dipped. "My parents? Involved?" he said. "Morally, practically, and, if they communicated with the contractor, legally. Whether or not they encouraged it is irrelevant. They allowed your information to be used." I rubbed my face with both hands. "Marcus, I don't want them arrested." "I know," he said. "But you do need to protect yourself." Then he leaned back in his chair. "And Evan? Protecting yourself means no more minimizing what they did." I opened my mouth to argue. He held up a hand. "Pause. Let's reframe." He pointed to the contract again. "They tried to charge your account over $8,000 without your knowledge. That alone is criminal. They planned to stick you with a $34,000 bill. That is not normal family dysfunction. That is financial abuse." I swallowed. Hard. I guess I just didn't expect them to go this far. Marcus's voice softened, but only a little. People don't show their worst sides until they're told no by someone they're used to controlling. You told them no for the first time, and this was their response. I sat back, stunned by how obvious it sounded when he said it. He slid a letter toward me. "This is the cease and desist. It covers Identity misuse. Unauthorized financial attempts. Public defamation. Contract fraud. Further contact attempts regarding money. Whoa, I whispered. That's strong. It's mild, he said. Strong is what I'll write if they ignore it. I stared at the document. That's going to destroy my relationship with them. Marcus folded his hands. Evan, they already did that. You're just naming what happened. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed in my pocket. Claire. Of course. I opened the text. I hope you're proud. Mom is crying. Dad is furious. The contractor says you broke the agreement. You better fix this. I handed the phone to Marcus. He read it. Raised an eyebrow. They genuinely believe you owe them. That's always been the dynamic. I admitted. They call it helping. I call it expected servitude, I guess. Marcus didn't blink. When people see you as a resource instead of a person, they don't react well when the resource disconnects. Then he stood. Come on. We're delivering this letter in person. I balked. What? No. No way. Absolutely not. Marcus was already grabbing his briefcase. This isn't optional. It's strategic. They will be calmer in person than when hiding behind texts and live streams. And we need proof you formally delivered notice. Oh my God! And Evan? Yeah? You're not going alone. He held the door open. I followed him out because there are two types of courage. The kind you feel. And the kind you borrow. We drove separately to my parents' house. My hands shook the whole way, not fear, not exactly. More like bracing before impact. When I pulled into the driveway, Claire was on the porch filming another video. The moment she saw me, she lowered her phone dramatically, like she was the abused party confronting her villain. Look who finally shows up, she snapped. Are you here to fix your mess? Marcus stepped out of his car like a plot twist in a courtroom drama. Actually, he said, walking directly past her, I'm here to fix yours. Claire blinked so fast I thought her lashes might fly off. Who are you? Marcus didn't even give her the courtesy of eye contact. He kept walking. My dad opened the front door, took one look at Marcus, and his entire face hardened. What is this? He demanded. Marcus handed him the envelope. Legal notice. My mom appeared behind him, clutching a tissue. Sweetheart, she whispered to me. Why are you doing this to us? Marcus answered for me. Your son isn't doing anything to you. He's stopping what you did to him. My dad tore open the envelope like he planned to intimidate the paper. He scanned the first page. Then he exploded. You got a lawyer? Against your own family? Marcus's voice was calm as a surgeon's hand. Against identity misuse. Against fraud. Against unauthorized use of financial information. If the shoe fits, Mr. Carter, that's your doing, not his. Claire's voice rose to a shrill pitch. This is insane. You're ruining everything. How are we supposed to pay for the nursery? Marcus finally looked at her. That, he said, sounds like a you problem. My mom's voice cracked. But we thought he'd help. Marcus nodded. He has. For years. Financially, emotionally, practically. But he is not legally or morally required to fund your daughter's child. My dad threw the letter at the floor. We are done with you, Evan. Don't come back here. I stepped forward. Okay, I said quietly. That works for me. My mom gasped softly. Claire's mouth fell open. Even my dad hesitated. Marcus placed a hand on my shoulder. Let's go. We turned and walked toward the driveway. Behind us, my mother's voice trembled. Evan, please. Don't do this. I didn't turn around. Because for the first time in 28 years, I was leaving on my own terms. And they couldn't stop me. I didn't cry in the car. I thought I would. Honestly, I expected some emotional collapse where years of pressure finally cracked. But instead, I felt hollow. Not numb. Not relieved. Just this strange, quiet space where anger had burned itself out and left cold ashes in its place. Marcus pulled out behind me and followed until we reached a gas station off Maple Street. He parked beside me and motioned for me to roll down my window. "You held your ground," he said. "That was not an easy family dynamic." I snorted. "Dynamic is a generous word." He gave a small, sympathetic smirk. "You're going to get a reaction," he warned. "When systems lose their power source, they panic. Expect guilt, rage, bargaining. So, the stages of family grief." "Exactly." My phone buzzed as if on cue. Not a call. A notification. Claire had posted again. Marcus sighed. "Let me guess, she weaponized the internet." I opened the video. It was 27 seconds of Oscar-worthy melodrama. Claire crying in her passenger seat, mascara smudged even though she wasn't wearing mascara 5 minutes ago. "My brother hired a lawyer against his own family," she sobbed. "He's threatening us with legal action while we're just trying to prepare for our baby. We're being abandoned. Please pray for us during this incredibly difficult time." No mention of the forged contract. No mention of the attempted $34,000 charge. No mention that I had moved out only after being evicted from my own room. The comments were already rolling in. What kind of monster sues his pregnant sister? He must be mentally unstable. Family comes first. Where is his compassion? Marcus watched over my shoulder and let out a soft, tired exhale. "She's going to build her whole personality around this," he muttered. "But don't engage. You're not playing her game." Easy for him to say. My throat tightened. "People are going to think I'm a villain." Marcus shrugged. "Let them. Truth isn't a popularity contest." Before I could respond, another notification popped up. A group chat message. From my mother. Family group thread. "Mom, Nevin, your father collapsed after you left. He's under enormous stress because of your choices. If something happens to him, that will be on you." I stared at the screen, my hands going cold. Not this. Not again. The health guilt card. The "you are responsible for our well-being" script. Marcus saw my face and held out his hand. "Give me the phone." I did. He read the message. His jaw ticked. Then he said very evenly, "Evan, they are manipulating your nervous system. This is classic emotional coercion. And it is not your job to save people who are setting themselves on fire." "I know," I said, but my voice cracked anyway. He crossed his arms. "You're a firefighter. You're trained to run into danger. But this? This is the one fire you are not allowed to enter." Another ding. "Dad, if I end up in the hospital, that's on you." Marcus muttered something loyally and profane under his breath. Then he looked at me, all business. "We're escalating." What does that mean? It means we're documenting every message of guilt, manipulation, and emotional extortion. Judges hate this behavior. It only strengthens your case. I nodded, swallowing hard. "But Evan," he continued softer now, "you also need emotional backup." "Backup?" "Yes." He reached into his suit jacket and handed me a small card. "Therapist who specializes in adult children of narcissistic families. Call her." I huffed out a weak laugh. "Marcus, I'm not." "Trust me," he cut in. "This isn't legal advice. It's survival advice." My phone buzzed again. This time? Not guilt. Not threats. A text from an unknown number. Unknown, "Hey man, it's Tyler. I'm dating Claire. Thought you should know she's planning something. Call me." I blinked. Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Well, that's new. What does that mean?" I asked. "Nothing good," he said. "But we're about to find out." I stared at the message, pulse rising. Because Claire planning anything was the kind of sentence that should come with a fire extinguisher. I didn't call Tyler right away. Partially because I didn't trust him. Partially because I wasn't emotionally prepared for whatever fresh nightmare Claire had cooked up. And partially because Marcus was giving me the look doctors give when they're about to deliver news with phrases like, "You should sit down before you call him," Marcus said. "Let's establish two truths. Okay. 1. Claire does not plan small. She plans theatrically. Correct. 2. Whatever she's planning, the goal is either A. Money, B. Public sympathy, or C. Punishing you for noncompliance. Possibly all three." My stomach made a slow, miserable somersault. "Perfect," I muttered. "Love that for me." "Call him on speaker," Marcus said, settling into lawyer mode again. "Let's see what her next attempt at arson looks like." I dialed. Tyler answered in 2 rings. "Dude," he whispered immediately. "Thank God. I'd been trying to reach you all morning." Marcus shot me a look that said, "Do not emotionally react." "Tyler," I said flatly. "What's going on?" He exhaled hard. "You're not going to like this, man. Trust me," I said. "That bar is buried underground at this point. So, Claire has been losing it since yesterday. Crying, screaming, throwing stuff. Like, actually throwing stuff. And she kept saying she needs to get ahead of your narrative." I didn't understand what she meant. I closed my eyes. Marcus rubbed his temple. Tyler continued. "And then this morning she told me her plan." "What plan?" I asked. He hesitated. For a long time. "Tyler," Marcus said calmly, "you're protected as a whistleblower if she's committing fraud or harassment. So speak." "Okay," Tyler whispered. "She's filing a restraining order." My head jerked back. "What?" "Against you," he whispered. "She wants to tell the court you're unstable and dangerous, that you threatened her during the confrontation and that you stormed off in a rage." I stared at the dashboard. Marcus's expression didn't change, but he looked like someone had just handed him a legal Christmas present. "Tyler," Marcus said, "did she instruct you to provide testimony?" "Yes," Tyler said miserably. "She wants me to say you shoved past her on the porch. She said the court will believe a pregnant woman over you." A cold, metallic stillness washed over me. I hadn't touched Claire. Not a shove. Not a brush of fabric. Nothing. Tyler took a shaky breath. "And that's not all." "Of course it wasn't." "Go on," Marcus said. "She wants to post a video this weekend saying you have anger issues from the job and that she's afraid you'll snap around the baby." I felt something inside me deflate. It wasn't shock. It was something sadder. Recognition. Like I'd finally reached the logical endpoint of how little Claire valued the truth. Tyler kept talking. "She said, and these are her exact words, 'Man, if he won't pay for the nursery willingly, we'll make him legally obligated to stay away until he does.'" I blinked. "Wait," I said. "She thinks restraining me is leverage?" Tyler made an exhausted sound. "She thinks everything is leverage." Beside me, Marcus nodded once, slowly, thoughtfully, like a man mentally rearranging legal chess pieces. "Tyler," he said, "thank you for telling us. You did the right thing. Are you safe?" There was a pause. "Honestly? I don't know." "Then leave," Marcus said simply. "Today. Pack what you need and go." Tyler exhaled again. Yeah, I'm planning to. But Evan, before I go, please protect yourself. She's not thinking rationally. She's trying to hurt you." We hung up. For a long moment, neither Marcus nor I spoke. Then Marcus let out a long breath and said, with unnerving calm, "Well, that was stupid of her." I blinked at him. "Marcus, she's filing a restraining order." "Yes," he said, "and she will lose. Spectacularly." "How are you so sure?" He held up one finger. "She is on video approaching you, not the other way around." He held up a second. "She live-streamed the confrontation voluntarily." A third. You have written harassment, guilt manipulation, and coercive messages from your parents. A fourth. We have proof she forged your signature on a financial contract. A fifth. And now, he said, smiling faintly, we have a witness admitting she attempted to suborn perjury. Judges love when someone tries that. Makes their ruling very easy. I blinked. So what do we do? Marcus clasped his hands. We don't wait. We file first. For what? For a protective order against them. My pulse stuttered. What? Can I even do that? Absolutely, Marcus said. Identity misuse. Fraud. Attempted financial coercion. Online defamation. Coordinated harassment. Threats of false accusations. Contact attempts after legal notice. It's textbook. I stared at him. Marcus, I never thought I'd be filing a protective order against my own family. He softened. You're not filing it against the family. You're filing it against individuals who abuse their access to you. I swallowed. Then nodded. Okay. Marcus nodded back, businesslike again. Good. We'll draft today. File tomorrow. My phone buzzed again. A video notification. Claire had posted another TikTok, already at 12,000 views. Marcus sighed. Let me guess. More theatrics? The caption read. My brother is escalating. Pray for our safety. I didn't even have the energy to react. Marcus put the car in drive. Evan, he said quietly, it's time to stop putting out fires in their lives. I looked at him. And start extinguishing the one they set in yours. Marcus didn't waste time. We drove straight to his office. No music, no small talk, just the quiet hum of tires on asphalt and the constant ping of my phone as Claire's newest video spread like a rash across the internet. When we walked inside, Marcus pointed at a chair. Sit. Breathe. Don't look at your phone. I'm fine. I lied. He leveled me with the look therapists give you right before asking about your childhood. You're a firefighter. Your adrenaline response has spent years being trained to run toward danger. That instinct is going to try to make you intervene. Resist it. I nodded, exhaling slowly. While he drafted the petition, I stared out the window. And suddenly it hit me, something so obvious I'd missed it for years. I wasn't scared of losing my family. I was scared of realizing they had never been the kind of family I thought I had. Marcus pushed a stack of papers toward me. Read this. I picked it up. Filed petition for protective order. Respondents: Claire Carter, Michael Carter, Linda Carter. Wait, I said. All three? Yes, Marcus said. You didn't just have one problem. You had a system. I read the grounds. Identity misuse. Contract fraud. Attempted financial coercion. Emotional harassment. Threat of false legal claims. Defamation. Retaliatory communication after legal notice. Coordinated online harassment. My chest tightened, but not with fear. With validation. Every line was something I had lived through and minimized. Marcus leaned back. Is there anything inaccurate? No, I whispered. It's all true. Good, he said. Sign. My hand hovered over the signature line. This was it. The moment I formally, legally stepped out of the role they had assigned me at birth. I signed. Marcus gathered the documents neatly. We'll file this afternoon. But before we do... He handed me a printed screenshot. I frowned. What's this? It's from Claire's newest video. I scanned it. A comment floated at the top. If you're afraid of him, should you even let him near the baby? And Claire had replied, no. He won't be around the baby until he chooses to stop being dangerous. Dangerous. The same sister who forged my signature. Who tried to stick me with a $34,000 bill. Who ambushed me with a nursery plan like my life wasn't mine. Who had weaponized the internet against me. was now implying I was a threat to a child. I set the paper down carefully. Marcus said nothing, letting the gravity land. Finally he asked, "How does that feel?" I swallowed. "It feels like she never saw me as a person," I murmured. "Just a resource. And now that the resource has boundaries, she's painting it as violence." Marcus nodded slowly. Approvingly. Like I had solved the riddle. "That realization," he said, "is the beginning of freedom." He stood. "Let's go file this." The courthouse was quiet, too quiet, like everyone was holding their breath. Marcus handled everything with the ease of someone who had watched 100 families implode and knew how to keep his clients from being dragged into the blast radius. When the petition was officially stamped, I felt something shift in me. Not relief exactly. More like structural integrity returning to a building long overdue for reinforcement. As we walked back through the parking lot, Marcus said, "They'll be served tonight or tomorrow. You may get backlash." "My sister is backlash in human form," I muttered. Marcus cracked a rare smile. We reached my truck. That's when my phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't a video. Not a guilt text. Not a voicemail from my mother crying in a voice designed for an audience. It was a message from a number I didn't recognize. "Unknown, you don't know me, but I think you should see this. Check your Instagram DMs." I opened the app. A new message request. From an account I didn't follow. The preview showed a tiny thumbnail of Claire's face. My stomach dropped. I opened it. It wasn't a video. It wasn't a rant. It was a screenshot. A private message from Claire. Sent to someone she didn't realize was connected to me. Claire's message read, "If this protective order goes through, it'll look like he's the dangerous one, which is perfect. It'll push him to cave financially. He always caves eventually." I froze. Marcus leaned over. "Read it." Went still. Then tapped the screenshot thoughtfully. "This," he said, "is what we call a coffin nail." What?" "It seals the case," he clarified. "This is proof of intent. She wasn't scared of you. She was strategizing how to leverage legal structures against you." I exhaled shakily. "What do we do now?" Marcus placed a hand on my shoulder. "We don't do anything." He smiled. "They've already lost." But that wasn't the end. Because 30 minutes later, Claire showed up at my apartment door. Pounding. Screaming. Absolutely unraveling. And she had someone with her. Someone who shouldn't have been there. Someone who made my blood run cold. My father. Claire wasn't knocking. She was assaulting my door like it owed her money. "Open it, Evan," she screamed. "I know you're in there." My heartbeat didn't spike. My training had baked that out of me, but something heavier settled in my chest when my dad's voice joined hers. "Son," he barked, "you have 10 seconds before I break this door down." Marcus froze beside me. "Don't open it," he said quietly. "You have a pending petition. Their presence here is already a violation of the cease and desist." But I knew them. And I knew they'd escalate. I cracked the door an inch, kept the chain on. "What do you want?" Claire lunged at the gap like she planned to claw through it. "You filed a restraining order against your own family? Are you insane?" My dad's face appeared next to hers, red, tight, trembling with a rage that looked older than both of us. "You take that court paperwork back," he growled. "Or so help me." "So help you what?" I asked calmly. "Threaten me again? In front of a lawyer?" They hadn't seen Marcus yet. He stepped into their view like a plot twist. Claire's mouth dropped open. Dad's face lost a shade of color. Marcus spoke first. "You two need to leave immediately. Your contact today has been documented and recorded as harassment." "We aren't leaving," Claire snapped. "Not until my brother stops pretending he's some victim. You ruined everything. You destroyed Mom. You're making us look like monsters online." "You are," I almost said. But I didn't have to. Marcus lifted his phone. Good, he said, pressing a button. Because now I have evidence of retaliatory confrontation after legal notice. Thank you for doing this in person. Courts love clarity. Claire staggered back like he'd physically pushed her. My dad pointed a shaking finger at me. You filthy ingrate. After everything we did for you. I finally snapped. Not loud. Not violent. Just done. You charged me $2,400 a month to live in a room you evicted me from. That was fair, he started. You tried to steal $34,000 more. You used my email. My banking info. My name on a contract I never saw. My voice didn't waver. And when I said no, you tried to destroy my reputation. Online. Publicly. You tried to make people believe I'm dangerous. To a pregnant woman. To a baby. Claire's face twisted. You are dangerous. Marcus scoffed. Your own messages say otherwise. She froze. I continued. You didn't come here because you're afraid of me. You came here because your control stopped working. That hit them harder than any shout could have. Claire's jaw trembled. You're supposed to help us. Your family. No, I said. Family is love. Your leverage. Silence. For the first time in my life, I watched truth land on them like falling debris, shocking, unpleasant, impossible to ignore. Marcus stepped closer to the door. You have 15 seconds to leave before I call the police to enforce the protective petition. I recommend you make wise decisions today. You've made very few so far. Dad sputtered. Claire cried harder. Neither moved. So Marcus lifted his phone again. 14:13. They finally backed away, first angry, then desperate, then defeated as they retreated down the walkway. Claire spat one final sentence over her shoulder. When the baby is born, you'll regret this. I didn't blink. No, I said. I won't. And for the first time since this whole nightmare began, I knew that was true. 3 weeks later, the judge granted my protective order. Claire's false petition was dismissed with prejudice. The officer who served her reportedly heard her scream from the driveway. Tyler moved out, blocked her, and emailed Marcus a formal affidavit. The contractor filed a claim against them, not me. My parents sent one last message before the order silenced them. We hope someday you realize what you've done. I didn't respond. Because here's what I've learned. Some people love you as long as you are useful. Some people will burn your life for kindling and call it sacrifice. Some people don't understand boundaries until a judge reads them out loud. And some people are only family when you're paying for the privilege. I still run into burning buildings for strangers. But I don't run into emotional ones for people who lit the match. Now, when I come home after a long shift, smoke in my hair, exhaustion in my bones, I unlock my door. My place. My quiet. My peace. A home no one can take. Or paint over. Or bill me for. And that's worth every flame I walked through to get here.